All right, hello everyone. How's it going out there in Audition Cello land? Hope you're all doing well. Give me 1 second here. All right. We're gonna. All right, hello everyone. How's it going out there? There's feedback from me. Yeah, you don't want to see that. Okay. Forgive me there for a moment. Okay. What you do want to see is some audition info, which is what I'm going to bring you right now. Okay. We're going to talk about, if you missed the other live stream the other night here on the channel, thank you for your patience. We talked about the opening to the Ruslan Ludmilla overture. Okay. So in this one, we're going to talk about the Cantabile section, which comes earlier, okay? And give me 1 second. We're going to talk about the Cantabile section that comes earlier, as well as Russian Sailor's Dance here. Let me get there, okay? All right. Before I flash, forgive me here 1 second. Before I flash the excerpt on the screen, and remember you can rewind this later and pause it as you need to. Rewind it later and pause it as you need to get any kind of fingerings or bowings on the screen. But just one little aspect here about this Cantabile. Forgive me, I don't have my... And if you have a question, I can see your questions and comments here in the chat. Pop them on the screen, and I will do my best to answer them for anyone that's watching out there. But in this Cantabile... And by the way, I'm tuned to A442 if you're playing along. The bowing, before I fill up the screen here with the excerpt, the bowing that I'm using here in the Cantabile is to get some more sound. Now, in most editions, you have all this stuff slurred. And, always check with whoever you're auditioning for, if they strictly want the bowings. Usually at this level, if you're playing this kind of excerpt, you can change the bowing, I would think. It's usually okay, but always double check that. But the way I'm bowing it is just to get some more sound. I want to be able to move the bow, and of course, when I get to the accents, it doesn't matter. That's got to all be separate. The up bow staccatos or the up bow accents. But take two bows there. Yeah, because if you don't take two bows, what happens is when you get over here to this. It's not, if you're going like this, I mean, I guess it's going fast enough that you could get away with that, but I don't know. I want to be able... Yeah, and even two bows there. You could do one bow there. All right. Now, let me put my music here on the screen. Give me 1 second. Forgive me. There's some music, and then, oops, hold on. This is kind of a new feature here that I'm messing with. Oh, there I am. Okay, all right. The up bow staccatos, this business right here is what we're talking about. Right in here. Okay. All right. How do I get all of these wonderful... Put myself on the screen, forgive me. All right. What is it that I need to do, okay, to... So that all that comes out clearly? Well, first thing I want to do is put on my metronome here. You know, up tempo, this thing is 135. That might work, just to get that 135 in my head. All right. But also, if I'm really having trouble, if I really want to get these accents out, how about I slow it down to say like 80? And I'm giving myself time to really think about my arm weight, okay? Let me take it off of this just for a second here. Yeah. So we can talk about this. My arm is heavy, all right? And I'm thinking about this right hand, what my fingertips are doing, and I'm checking that. Check. And maybe just like I'm doing now with the metronome off, I want to wiggle the string. All right. And I'm listening for a solid tone. If I hear the bow slide or glide or any of that across the string, I want to go back and do it again. Until I get really good at getting the weight into the string really fast. And this is the way you would practice any kind of up bow. Sorry, I keep looking over here to make sure you're seeing the right thing. You want to practice any kind of up bow staccato or down bow staccato like this, starting out slowly with the metronome. And remember, you know, if you're doing an audition, you probably have some scales that you're doing along with the excerpt, all right? So, kill two birds with one stone. Say we're doing D minor, okay, 3 octave. How about I get out here at the tip? Let's just do a 3 octave D minor scale, and we're gonna do our up bow staccato here. Do that one more time. Okay, it could be any scale. It could be, let's see, how about G major? So forth and so on, all right? The bowing doesn't work out when you do a 3 octave. Well, it would work out to be up bow the 3rd time around if I did it that many times. Okay, so kill two birds with one stone. Now let's go back here to Ruslan and Ludmilla. Because we want to hear all those accents, yes, that are printed in there. Okay, so forth and so on. And that happens a couple of times. Let's get our music back up here. Happens there. Same thing comes back again there in the 2nd line. All right. And also here at the end, yes? Okay. All right, this little place right here. All right. Where we have... Of course, the next line's easier. It is all accented. All right, going down. All right. Let's see, what else about the bowing in here? All right, just make sure it's cantabile. Make sure it's singing. Make sure you do the accents. Make sure you're practicing with a metronome. Everybody wants to rush here because this part gets much easier, yes, when you get to this point. So, all right, where it gets a lot easier, so you don't want to rush through there. All right, intonation here in the, and if you have any questions, put them up here. If you have comments. All right, now, intonation. I keep the finger, this thing goes so blazing fast here, all right, because we're still up tempo when we get here to the cantabile. Yes, Glinka or somebody marked it at 135. Keep it pretty simple. First position and fourth position because of the intonation, okay? And also because of the vibrato. If I put a second finger on this F natural starting up here, I can get a really big vibrato going right off the bat. And of course I know where fourth position is, okay? All right, if I do third position or second or something crazy, or third I meant, it's just not going to be as good. It's not going to sound as good. There's nothing else to say about it. All right, so start in fourth position. Start on your second finger. All right. And then just go to first. All right. There is one place where you really absolutely have to do third position, and that is down here on this G. So first. All right, go ahead and do that first G there. I'll show you where I am. Right in here. Okay. Replace that finger because it's so quick. All right, think about the tempo here. Yada da 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 da. That's the eighth note. Yes. All right. So if you try to do that at first position, it's just clunky. All right, and then you have this long open A, which you really need to get up and do a stopped A anyway. All right, because it sounds so much better. So that one's got to be, okay, let's just write it in there. All right, make sure we know. Okay, this is third position. Okay, all right. Gotta be, not optional. Okay. All right. But again, come down here, okay, to first, because it's this long note, vibrato. All right, vibrato. I wouldn't try to do a second finger on the A. That's too much trouble. Okay. All right. Because you have this very, going between these two notes right here. I wouldn't try to put a second finger on the A. That's just going to be clunky. All right. It's fine. It's fine to do the third. All right. You have plenty of time to go 2 to 2 from the first position up to the fourth. Okay. All right. So, try to use, your best vibrato, the best finger you can to get the vibrato sound, but depending on what notes come before or after. All right. So that's why we're going to leave the 3 on the A. Let's see. And that happens a couple of times, right? Happens down here as well. All right. With the third position. Let's make sure we get that in there. Same thing, yes? All right, so that we can play the B flat really accurately. Okay, so forth and so on. Okay. There aren't a big, string of eighth notes like in the opening. So as far as getting it up to speed, it's not nearly as difficult. Okay, as far as rhythm goes. I would say one thing about the rhythm, the tied note over here, okay? I hear a lot of students cutting off the tied note, and I'm talking about this right here, all right? One da 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 ba da da da. Okay, make sure you hold this. It's the holding. Whoops, sorry. It's the holding this correctly into this. Yes. All right. No, you can't see that. This note coming over into this note. Yes. Ba ba da da dum. Sorry, I didn't count that right. Let's do this. Let me get my chicken scratch off the screen here. Da 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 dum. Okay. All right. 1 2 1 da 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 dum. Okay. Over into the other note. Don't go early. Make sure you do that correctly, because that happens over and over again in this little part of the excerpt. Okay. Let's see. Bowing, tone. Talked about the intonation. There's lots of accidentals here. I even played it incorrectly here a time ago. This last scale at the end. All right. This is why we're continually learning and going through stuff. Yeah, so I would check each one of those notes. B flat, make sure we do the extension. F natural, E natural. I think this is the one that gets us into trouble here, because we're playing so many extensions and I see B flats everywhere. And so everyone wants to play this flat, maybe just give yourself a little courtesy, accidental, remind yourself that it's natural there, okay? It's all kind of jumbled up. You can't really put it on the staff. All right, to make sure we're playing all the right notes there. Okay. Let's see if we have any questions or comments here. Sorry, here we go. That's what I wanted. Make sure I'm not missing any comments here. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. All right. All right. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna move on to another glinka here, which is the Russian sailor's dance marked Pesante. Okay. And there's a couple of different ways to bow this here. We're going to do a retake, which means that we're not going to do this tie here that is printed. And I'm talking about in this business here. Whoop. Go away. This right here. Okay. All right. Which is, we're going to go down. Oops, let me make this a little clearer. We're going to go down here. All right. And then we're not going to do this tie here. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I could put a little white paint over there. All right. Beautiful. Okay. So when we're starting out, yes, and it's slow. And it's really important that you be slow, because at this point, the character changes, right? Because this piece gets faster and faster and faster. It's one of the fun, wonderful things about this piece. But if we go too fast at the opening, we have nowhere to go when we get to the moderato. Okay, all right? This is such a famous piece. It's such a famous piece for us cellists to play. Make sure you're listening to some recordings and getting a good tempo. But I would say, this one doesn't have a, somewhere around 65, I think. That feels a little fast, and then 60 feels a little slow. But I don't know, it all depends. 60 might not be too slow. Let's go, let's shoot in the middle here. Whatever bowing you choose, you gotta be up bow for the glissando. That one's not optional, okay? All right, and the glissando here in this printing got a little messed up. All right, so all right, and you really, the other thing is if you go too fast, you can't exaggerate the slide, the glisso. You really want to take the whole time. This is great practice for shifting later anyway. They wrote it in there so that it sounds like this, sloppy drunk dance, right? This is, it's Russian sailor's dance. It's written in, what is this, late 1800s, early 20th century. You just have to think about this character of what this thing is bringing to life. And remember, it's a ballet, all right? There are literally people dancing to this. Okay, so, but the red poppy, there it is on the screen. It's from that ballet. But I hear a lot of students start, okay. And all this goes fine. Make this really quick glissando, all right, and there's no character to that, all right. So start early, go slow, really take the whole time to slide. And also, we're not doing, scratch this out there. I really do that in the white paint, so I remember that it is there. Doing separate bows there as well this time around. So just from right there. With this melody, as you could see, as I am doing here, bad habit, wanting to speed up. Okay, this is why the reason you got to practice with the metronome. It's just such a great melody that naturally wants to speed up, which it is going to do later in the piece. And even though you're playing an excerpt, and this is really important with auditions, is that you have to show the conductor that you understand how these pieces go, that you've done your homework, that you've gone out and you've listened to a recording. You understand that this part goes slow, that you need to leave room to go faster later. Yes? All right. But it wants to speed up. It's really, really fun to speed up this melody, but not here, right? If you speed it up, it's incorrect. But then it's also not pesante, okay? Which actually translates as heavy, okay? Really burdensome, all right? Think about the root of that word, peasant. Burdened, poor, lowly, whatever, connotation you want to give that. For us, it just means rough, heavy right arm, really sticky into the string, really sliding around. I would use a drone pitch there. Yes, I would. Let's get one out right now. Or Or you could just use your open C string. Make sure we're landing on the C natural correctly. All right. Before we get into too much here, while we're talking about the bowing, again, if there's any questions, put them in the chat, put them in the comments here. Not every single thing is accented, and we do have some dots. All right, so going at the beginning, we have just down bow, then we have some dots, then we have a line, then we have an accent. Okay. Really bring out the accent on the B flat, yes. And since this is an actual excerpt printing, don't forget here that we have, you know, B flat and E flat there. Yes, in the key signature. There it is down there. You can see it. All right. So we always have this line here and this accent on this note. Accent, right? Really put something extra on that B flat accent. It's also going to help you bring out the syncopation, which let's talk about the rhythm next, okay? Rhythm, not too terribly difficult in this piece. Okay, I know I'm talking about the opening section because it's really important to get this right. We'll get to the moderato here in a second. It's really important that you get the syncopation correctly. Let's go back to our metronome here. Bum, 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 bum. You know, the textbook definition, if you look up the word syncopation, which always look these words up, look up Pesante, look up Glinka, look up what moderato means. But if you look up syncopation, the textbook definition in the, you know, in the music dictionaries is putting a strong something in a weak place, or putting a strong beat on a weak beat. So when you're going through the measure here, we're in 2/4, you have 1 and 2 and the 1 and the 2 are strong and the ands are weak, right? So 1 and 2 and. Well, if I put a longer note, a stronger note on, or especially an accented note, which is why the accent is there, if I put that in a weak place, right? So I have an eighth note followed by a quarter note, which just starts on the and of the beat, okay? And then I have that carry over through the strong part, so I have 1 and 2 and, okay? And then there's just an eighth note there at the end of the and. I've created a syncopation. So again, just like we did with the up-bow staccatos back in the Ruslan, let's see. In this particular audition, what I have here, let's do a different scale. Oh yeah, D major. So we did some G major, we did some D minor. Let's do some. I'm gonna turn my handy dandy metronome on. Let's just do a 3 octave here. I'll take this off for a moment. Let's just do with the metronome a D major, 3 octave scale with the syncopation. Here we go. 2, ready, and. I'm gonna check my intonation here and also stop and say, I started to do it, but let's be proactive about it. Let's put that accent in there, just like it is. We're doing the syncopation, but I wasn't really doing the accent. So let's do that on the way down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes it more challenging. Man, that's an exercise for my brain here to put that accent. Let's do that again. 1, 2, ready, and accent. I'm only putting the accent on the chord art. Sorry. After I do that, of course, more than just 2 times there. Remember, this is all in service of these syncopations. This part right here that we're talking about, this, okay, all right, wherever I have it, all right, all these places, bum, 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 really, really, really want to get that right, okay? Now, let's play here from the end. I'm going to play from, let's see, just from the second half. I'm going to start here at rehearsal 4 and get into the moderato now. Well, that tempo is really in my head now. All right, can't stress enough. Practice this stuff on the scales. To the end, and they have lots of tenutos marked in here. Yes, okay, the lines over the notes, this part right here, yeah, that's above the note, meaning, you know, again, if you look up tenuto there in the dictionary, it says to hold the note for its full value. Well, when do we not hold a note for its full value? We always want to play the notes correctly, their full value. Well, but sometimes we can make them short, sometimes we can cut them off. It's almost like the composer is saying, don't cut this one off whatsoever. Make it as long. You want to make it as long as you possibly can there. Okay? All right? And it's also to make sure that we're contrasting, because look, this opening section, which is very short, okay, you know, staccatos, everything's kind of separated and detached. When we get down here into this kind of sweet rendition here of the melody, notice it's marked piano, okay? We want something different, okay? We want to sound ever so slightly different. It's a different character in our story, yes? All right? So, I'm backing up. You know, notice, sorry, we were talking about the bowing earlier. In the Pesante, it's all at the frog, okay? Every bit of this is at the frog. All right, I'm always getting back there so that it sounds super, super heavy. But here when I get to the moderato, I want to be more in the middle, a little closer to the fingerboard. I'll still want the 16th notes to be crisp, just not short. It actually... We're still not to the super fast part anyway. I would stay, you know, on a lower string as much as possible. I still think it's in the same character here of the piece, meaning I'm going to play this E flat up here in 4th position on the G string. Okay, so I'm playing a lot more legato, holding the notes out, playing in the middle of the bow, playing softer. As far as getting that E flat, that's a little harder to use the cello for. So this is definitely a place I want to play my drone pitch here. So just getting into it. Always practice it in context. Am I going from playing all this stuff and then really check all those E flats? Yeah, let's do a 1. Let's play that a little bit better there. Let's put here. So just, I'm going to write this in so you know what I'm doing. I'm going 3, 2 here. 4th position. G string. Okay, and actually, let's do 1, 2, 4 here on this. Yada-dum, da, just all in 2nd position. I'm putting the X to remind myself of the extension. All right, so I'm just going back and forth. 2nd position, 4th, back and forth. 2nd, 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. So what does that look like? This is where the drum pitch helps. Or I could even put it on a B flat. If I ever have a hard shift, to make sure that I'm getting there correctly. I have the iPad hooked up here. You can see it in the other video, the one that I talked about, where I did the opening part of the Ruslan. If you're using an iPad or you have something here that has a piano, this is a great use of a piano app, is to actually get out the keyboard and play it, okay, da 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 dum on a piano, so you can kind of hear it in context. It's important that we hear these things. You know, when you're practicing with the drum pitch, this is kind of a vertical alignment, sort of a harmonization. All right, hearing it horizontally, okay, and not just vertically. All right, actually hearing the melody is really, really important. So if you have an actual piano, even better, or some kind of keyboard. But you know, we have all these devices around us all the time. Get out your piano app and use it so that you can hear it. You'll play it much more in tune. Okay. That's kind of everything here in Russian Sailor's Dance. All right. One thing, let's see. There's a couple of fingerings that I didn't put in. Make sure, you know, this is E flat, so this is extension. Okay. But then this is a natural, so this is not an extension. Yes. And I'm down here on this stuff. This, let's put a little X here, because that is an extension. getting back to the B flat. This is not an extension from this C natural here to this G. Make that a little bigger. All right, from this C natural down to G, that is not an extension, and that's important. All right, remember where you are extended, okay, and where you are not. When you go to second position here, which that's what that Roman numeral 2 means, okay. Second position. All right, erase that. This is an extension. Okay, if you're going to put the 1 there, you could do, as an option, you could do 4 to 1 there on the D string, but I don't know. That'd be kind of clunky because see, you'd be going 4 to 4 there. So I don't know if I would do that actually, but you know, it's an option that's available there for you. Okay. All right. Everything else I think we covered. Questions for all of you out there in cello land? All right. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch the other live stream that I did, okay? And I will post it here, right here at the end of this video, where I go back and I do, here, I'll show you, where I go back and I cover this opening section here, all right, the presto from the Ruslan and Ludmilla, this whole thing here at the beginning of this audition, all right? And you can go check that out right here, all right? I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.